This is a different video to what I was going to put up today, but here's a snippet from the press conference where Nigel Farage is introducing the new chairman and the fact that Zia's back. I don't know if you've seen it, but I'll just give you a few minutes of it.
Who was doing pretty much everything behind the scenes and sometimes in front as well. All of which explains his bid for freedom last week. He crawled out under the wire and was running away in the woods as fast as he possibly could, leaving a trail of not so brilliant tweets behind. But after 48 hours we got him and he's back inside, and he will be taking over a job that will still consume him for a good 12 hours a day, maybe not the 18 hours a day he's been doing for me over the course of the last 11 months. I'm a good, kind boss, he'll tell you. I thanked him once over the course of the last year. But he's back, and he's head of UK Doge, among other things, and I want to introduce him onto the stage right now. Zia.
So before we put Zia up, I thought it was quite funny actually. I did actually get a message from him because I sent a message to him saying that I was sorry to see him go, but understood if he was under pressure, not that I'm anybody important, and that there's a lot of people that support him and what he's trying to do. He's only young, 38, he's not used to politics, and I just think he deserved a bit of a chance really. And obviously I think he's calmed down, and I had a word with someone at Reform, and you know the workload he had was a bit much really. You know, you'd never get a Tory party chair, or a Labour chair. They'd have had about 5 do it bloody job. Hang on.
Everybody. So sorry to put you all through that. I did realise the only way I was going to get a couple of days off was to resign and then come back. Look, I came into politics out of a sense of duty. I was over the moon and ecstatic when Nigel said he was returning to frontline politics to take over as leader of Reform UK. I said I wanted to do everything in my power to make him Prime Minister and to get a Reform government in. My commitment to that is redoubled. One of the things that happened actually after I'd sent those ill-advised tweets, which I regret, was I was inundated with many messages, heartfelt, from people, frankly, in my day-to-day job I just didn't hear from that often because my information diet was just far too X-focused. And what I realised was just how important the Reform movement was to people. It is not just a political party.
Shankly Hotel, it should go to...
I'm not very good at tech. This is an advert in between it. Hang on, I'll get rid of it.
There was a gentleman who was in palliative care who said that this movement represented what he viewed as really the last chance for this great country to turn itself around. So I realised how critical Reform UK was to so many millions of people, how critical Nigel is, his leadership, our amazing MPs, our volunteers, everybody around the country who has contributed to this. I could not leave that behind. And sometimes in life, and I hope all of you might agree with this, that sometimes when it takes having a little bit of distance from something to realise how important it is to you. I can't thank Nigel enough for having me back. I regret those tweets. I'm just to perhaps jump ahead of some questions, just to be really clear. I was exhausted, 11 months, and we're really proud of what we've achieved. We've gone from 14% of support in the country to 30%. We've got 400 branches full of amazing volunteers across the country. The membership has quadrupled in size to 230,000, and we're very proud of what I think will be the most historically important set of local election results in this country's history. So I'm hugely fortunate, and I feel very blessed to be back amongst this amazing team. And look, I'm going to be serving, as Nigel said, to lead the Doge UK efforts. The national budget is £1.2 trillion a year. The amount of waste and in some cases corruption is off the charts, and the reckoning is coming. I want to give you an example. Let's take Kent County Council, where we visited. It feels like a lifetime ago now, but I think it was 2 weeks. Confirmed, by their own admission, £2.8 million of fraud last year, the vast majority of which is actually inside the so-called mandatory statutory budgets, in which there are apparently no savings to be found. They've been paying taxpayer money for taxi companies submitting invoices for journeys that never happened, adult social care companies submitting invoices for care of people who had long since deceased, paying employees who had long since left. As Lee said, the snouts have been in the trough for far too long. Look, there are a lot of great people who do great work in the public sector, but there is no doubt there's a huge amount of waste. We're assembling an all-star team of brilliant people who are working for free. They're going to use cutting-edge tools and technology to do, frankly, an inhuman amount of work to get to the bottom of where there is waste and potentially corruption. So very excited to do that. And actually, I think, in terms of how important it is, given the enormous growth in public spending and the state of this country's finances, I actually think it's going to be one of the most important missions this country will embark on since World War II. So I'm really excited about...
So that's basically it. He goes on a bit, and then they introduce David Bull as the new chairman. Obviously, what will happen now, because David Bull's going to be the new chairman, he's always been a spokesman for them. When him and Ben stepped away because they were asked to, David Bull stayed as a supporter. He's Dr. David Bull. But even now, other political parties are misleading people. He's a nice bloke. He's a nice enough bloke, is David Curtin. But he put a tweet out basically saying, look at this, to disrespect David Bull. And what David Bull had done in 2018, he'd shared an article from The Telegraph, which was quoting the Royal College of Paediatricians. And he put it in speech marks. Obviously, David mustn't have seen that. And it basically said 9-year-olds to learn about LGBT, because there were no other letters then, were there? But he's made it out as though he was doing it as an endorsement. It wasn't an endorsement. It was a criticism. It was a line from the dialogue to say that, this is ridiculous. So you'll see this kind of thing come out. I myself have been critical of David Bull in 2020, I think it was, or 21, whenever they were doing the rollout, because he was pro-rollout. I'm in a WhatsApp group with quite a few doctors who have problems because they believed what they were told, and they had a couple of, doses, and, everybody did in the National Health because nobody expected what was going to unfold. I think that have changed their minds by now. Anyway, the thing is, onwards and upwards, this is really good news for reform because, and yes, I make no apologies, I am supporting reform at the moment. There's nothing else. I don't want Labour. I want Labour out. I don't trust the Tories, so where do I go? Show me the other party. You can't talk about UKIP because it's not a serious contender to create a government. There's one thing I will say. I watched Nick Tenconi yesterday in a video. You can check it out on his pages, or if you look at Turning Point, they're quite good at this sort of stuff. They produce some good films. He goes to Calais, to a migrant camp, and that man, Nick Tenconi, is absolutely fearless. He's polite, but he doesn't take any messing, and believe me, they're not a friendly bunch. And he stands his ground. He's got a pair, let's put it that way. So I do see effort. There's a lot of people fighting back in different ways, and it all matters. Just because I don't see they've any chance at all of becoming a government at this point in time doesn't mean I don't recognise the fact that people are out there putting the effort in, doing what they can, creating content for social media to show the world, because let's face it, you're not going to find it from the mainstream media. The only one covering that press conference in its entirety was GB News. There'll be snippets on the news, but no doubt on the other channels, they'll make it look negative. All this business about, it's ping pong and it's to and fro and they don't know what they're doing, clown world, I don't agree with that. I think that there's a young man there that's highly qualified, skilled, He's an entrepreneur. You know, he's savvy enough to have turned a company into a £230 million investment and come away with about 30 million for himself. He's pretty savvy. So I'm quite happy to have him on my bloody team. I mean, we could have Rachel for accounts. You know, that's if you want to vote Labour, of course. You could leave Keir in. I mean, these people are absolutely numb as they come. They're clueless. He's backtracking on the winter fuel allowance now. Why? Not because he actually believes in it, because of public pressure. Don't tell me we can't do things. We can. Public pressure is making him roll it back because there's that many people annoyed about it, and especially when it's hitting their own supporters. I mean, the unemployment record, it's shot up whilst we've been under Labour. They've got nothing on offer for anybody, especially the young. And this is why reform is popular with the younger end, because the younger end is saying that they've got no future unless they change this two-party system, break through it and get things done. I think this is the best way to attack bad government, and that's from the bottom up. It's never been done before. Nobody's thought of doing it this way around now. I know there's a lot of other people complaining Nigel hasn't got a cabinet together, but I think that's a bit numb. How can you put your cabinet together when you don't know who your MPs are? How can you put your cabinet together when you don't know who wins? You don't even know who your candidates are at this stage. I couldn't give a monkey's who his cabinet is, because I want to see who comes forward first. And what better way than to get control of the councils, to get in there. 10 councils they've got control of. That's amazing. There's 3,000 more elections next year, council elections. 3,000, 1,900 of them are in London. Good luck with that. But you know what I'm saying? We have to fight with the soldiers that we've got on the ground. And these people who have stood as candidates do take a risk, because the whole system, you can forget this is controlled opposition, he's part of the establishment. No, he isn't, because I see what happens to these candidates locally, how they're treated. One lad who was standing was threatened that he wouldn't get his child into a school place because he was a Reform Party candidate. Does that sound like they're part of the establishment? Doesn't sound like that to me. And they're faced with these sort of challenges all the time. So I take my hat off to anybody who dares to come forward, telling people that they're not up to it. It's the experts that have been in for years that have ripped us off. I'm not saying all councillors are bad. I know some personally, they've been very, very good. But nevertheless, it is rife for being manipulated and profiteered on. And it's our money they're doing it with. This Doge is going to make such a difference at council level for uncovering stuff that can be shared with the public. I mean, there's more people now following the council social media sites than there were before the elections. So that means more people are taking notice. That means more people are joining in with the future. That means more people are interested in what's happening locally in their constituency, where they live with their taxes. Where is it all going? It's an amazing idea. And now that Zia's back, his team comes back, they're working for free. Remember that. At this stage in the game, they are working for free. They are giving their expertise so that we can make a change to this country. It's got to happen. We've got to change it. We've got to break through that two-party system. And Nigel is putting good people around him. Nigel is not shy of having good people. These rumours that you hear about, someone was coming through, and because he outshone him. Prime example, they bring up Robert Kilroy Silk, remember him? The Silver Fox. He had a chat show called Kilroy. He was a Labour politician and he left Labour. He had a couple of seats with Labour and he left disillusioned. And he got a job with the BBC, I think it was. And every morning it was Kilroy, and he had a debate show, two sides of an audience, and it was cool. He was quite attractive, didn't appeal to me, a bit wet. But he was an attractive man, and he was articulate, he was experienced, and he had a big audience. And I think he stayed 8 or 12 years. It was quite a long time. And then he decided to come back into politics. And he was going to, I think it was UKIP then, and the leader back then, I don't know whether he promised him or whether Kilroy Silk said, I'm only coming back if I can be the leader. Something like that went on. Kilroy Silk came back and the leader never stood down. He just stayed put. got nothing to do with Nigel Farage. Why are you blaming him for that? The bloke made a career choice to come back to politics. It didn't work out and he buggered off again. End of story. You've got to be careful because they had this for fuel. I really don't understand why people have to do that, because it's just wrong. It's not morally right and it's factually incorrect. So you have to be careful about what you listen to about Nigel Farage, because he's attacked from every side, and especially people who see reform as competition for what they're trying to do. Prime example, David Curtin, perfectly nice fella, runs the Heritage Party. Couldn't wait to put that thing up about David Bull. What a plonker. He's put it out on Twitter now. I mean, I'd be cringing if that were me. I'd go zap, I'd take it down and I'd put an apology up. Sorry, I thought you were supporting it. Clearly he's not. He's condemning it. He's being ironic. That's what I would have done. But these people, they don't, do they? They don't, and the blokes, they don't like apologising. So, good news today. Hope you like the clip. Sorry I'm not technical enough to make it better than this. But I think we're going to see massive inroads now into what's going on. Councils, they're not going to fund LGB pride stuff in certain areas anymore because it's taxpayers' money. Fair enough, have the event, fund it yourselves through your charities. Why should it be taxpayers' money? So I think you'll see a reintroduction of sensibilities. Andrea Jenkins for Lincolnshire, she's the Mayor of Lincolnshire. She's never off a phone, sharing information with you, totally transparent. This then, it's not just about the 10 councils that they control, it's about how it makes the other councils look that they don't control. If they're still tight-lipped and not opening up a bit, why not? If there's nothing to hide. Things are looking good, things are looking better, and never get too despondent because there's always something round the corner. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, it's free, and it helps YouTube further my reach so I come further up in news feeds. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I just know that if you press subscribe, it's better for me. Not because I earn any money from it, not that issue. I'm talking about reach, how many people get to see what I'm saying. I'm not a news source. I'm just a person with a YouTube account prepared to share information from contacts I get, and I do talk to the people that you are talking about on YouTube and other platforms.